June 11th, 2019. I wanted to do a quick video to give you a state of the lawn address, fill you in on where my lawn is at, what I'm about to do to it, all of that good stuff. But before we even do all of that, I want to take a little trip to another lawn. All right, well, this place might look familiar to some of you. It's my old house and my old lawn. Decided to take a trip down memory lane. So I wanted to come here because it's been about, 3 months now, I think, since I've been on this lawn. I wanted to come back here because I wanted to see where it was at. We're thinned out in some areas. We've got weeds, more weeds, even more weeds, there, all the way up through there. More weeds, 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 weeds. This is probably a better representation of where I started with when I first got this lawn. It looked a lot like this. Bare soil, hints of grass, weeds popping up, and moss. I mean, just moss all over the place back here. The front yard does look better. It looks pretty good, and I know the current homeowners have just been mowing it. They've put down, I think, 1 bag of Milorganite, and they've been hitting it with this herbicide over the counter from Home Depot. Ortho Weed Be Gone plus crabgrass control, ready to use. Kills crabgrass and dandelions. Let's see what the active is on this thing. Let's see, active ingredients, we have 2,4-D, quinclorac, and dicamba. Now this isn't to knock the current homeowners, I actually know them really well. They're the kind of folks that just want to keep it mowed, spritz some weeds here and there, and just make it look as good as they can with as little effort as possible. I mean, they're not the weekend warriors like me and go absolutely nutso on the lawn and really put the hammer down to make it look good. They're just maintaining it, keeping it mowed, spritzing the weeds like I was saying, and doesn't look all that bad. But when we actually start to get down and look at what's going on, we can see that it's thinning out. We can see the weeds popping back up. And actually, I'm looking at it right now, and actually some of these thinned out spots right here, we're actually having some moss start to show up. And in the back, that's a great representation of what this yard used to look like when I first got it. It's gone to bare dirt, we got weeds, we got the moss taken back over. And so yeah, that's where we're at with this lawn that I hit heavy with herbicide after herbicide, fungicide, pesticides, synthetic ferts, Milorganite, all that stuff. I threw all of that down on this lawn. I mean, I hit it with everything and the kitchen sink. Now, as a refresher, here's what the lawn looked like 8 days ago towards the end of our drought. We hadn't had rain for a month, and it was just, it was bad. Now, flash forward to today, and here is where we're at. So here's what I want to do with this video. I want to bring everyone up to speed on where my lawn is at, what I've done to it, and where it's going. So here we go, let's recap. I have 2 turf types. I have Bermuda, which is a warm season grass, and that makes up the front and my side yards. And I have turf type tall fescue, which is a cool season that makes up my fenced-in concrete pad, also known as my backyard. For the Bermuda, my warm season grass that makes up the front and the side yards, I've been giving it the biostimulant package, which is RGS, Humic 12, Air 8, and 002 microgreen. I've been doing 3 ounces per 1,000 square feet for that. Once things really started to pop about a month ago, I noticed that I had some trouble spots. That's when John came out and he and I walked the lawn. It's at that time that we came up with this regimen of doing RGS 1 week and Humic 12 the next, 3 ounces per 1,000 to help this thinned out area fill in. And after starting that regiment, we slipped into a drought. We had a month with no rain. And on top of all of that, I don't have irrigation. I've been hand watering this lawn. That's a task in and of itself. Couple that with the fact that we slipped into some triple-digit temperatures a few of those days in the past month, and I had to dial in my watering game. And even that wasn't enough. We had some areas burn up on the lawn, as you've already seen. So I had to stop and adjust once again and apply what I call the drought stress first aid kit. I did RGS and Humic 12 at 3 ounces per 1,000 square feet, followed by 6 ounces of 002 microgreen per 1,000 square feet and 9 ounces of 700 Green Effect per 1,000 square feet. Now let's talk about my nitrogen. I've done 3 total apps of 1801 GreenePunch as my nitrogen source. My first app, lighter than it should have been at the beginning of spring. I did 16 ounces per 1,000 square feet. My second app, again, a little bit lighter than it should have been. This was early spring. I did 18 ounces per 1,000 square feet. And my third app, that was a little higher than the first 2, but still probably not as high as it should have been. That's 20 ounces per 1,000 square feet on my third application of 1801 GreenePunch. So in total, that's about 5/8 of a pound of nitrogen for the entire front yard here for the Bermuda. So that seems pretty low, right? Get to that in a minute. Keep in mind what I'm trying to do with the lawn here. This lawn, it's brand new to me, and it's essentially new construction. So I'm bringing it along slowly. I'm learning the lawn, learning the lay of the land, learning the little nuances and things that I gotta fix, like the thinned out areas right here in the front that I've got going on. I'm just bringing it along slowly so that I don't overdo it and cause myself more problems. So I'm giving it these low inputs so that I just don't overdo it. Like my old yard, I threw everything at that thing in the kitchen sink. Herbicide after herbicide after herbicide, pesticides, fungicides, synthetic fertilizers, organic fertilizers, and I had problems still after all of that. My lawn here, total ounces of herbicide, big fat donut, 0. I've sprayed no herbicides whatsoever. Now that's not to say that I don't have weeds. I do. The weeds that I showed in the video with John, those have been choked out by the Bermuda. I still have little pockets of crabgrass here and there, like right here with an ant mound, and little pockets of it right up through here, but that's really it. But nothing major, and I'm not gonna do anything about them. I'm just gonna let the Bermuda do its thing. It's choking out the weeds all on its own. I'm just gonna focus on spoon feeding the soil and getting it healthy. That's my goal. That's what I'm aiming for. A healthy soil system, remediating that and getting it to where it needs to be. That's my whole focus for this season, is the soil. A bonus to that, the turf can green up and it's gonna look good, but I'm not really focused on that. I wanna get the soil as healthy as I can. I'm not looking for short-term gains here. I'm not gonna dump a whole bunch of nitrogen on this thing, get it to green up and make it the envy of everyone in the neighborhood. My goal here is long-term. I wanna extend the use of everything that it's getting. It's water, it's nitrogen, all of its minor elements. By slowly building the soil and creating a healthy environment for the turf to thrive now, I can lower my inputs going forward. I won't have to hit it with 4 to 5 pounds to get this thing to green up and really look good. I just won't have to do that. I can give it the low doses, and those low doses will hang around for a whole lot longer. That is the goal. So I want to circle back and highlight the article that John wrote entitled Beware of Overcare. I'm going to link that in the description box below and the eye icon at the top. But in that article, he talks about not going out and just hammering the yard with a ton of stuff and just over caring for it and causing problems. Now, all of that being said, I'm gonna give the yard a cut and then I'm gonna follow it up with an application of 1801 GreenePunch. Why? Because I can afford to. Remember, I'm only at about 5/8 of a pound of nitrogen for the whole year so far. So I'm gonna go at it with about 21 to 22 ounces per 1,000 square feet, which is gonna bring my total nitrogen up to about a pound, 1.1 pounds of nitrogen for the whole yard. So not overdoing it at all. All right, cinematic bars and montage. Still looking pretty strong even after a mow. Cut's done, now it's time to fert all over the yard. it's water. Side yards in the front have now been ferted upon. Blue skies, some clouds are hanging around, but that's gonna go away. Rain is moving back in tomorrow and the rest of the week. So perfect time to get an 1801 GreenePunch down onto the yard. So for this application, I did 22 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So my total nitrogen for the year for all of the Bermuda, my warm season grass, which is the front and the sides, is about 1.1 pounds. The main takeaway for this video, the main point that I'm going to continue to drive home is beware of overcare. Again, I'm bringing this yard along slowly. I'm taking its time. I'm learning it. I'm figuring out what it takes to get this thing looking good. So that's gonna take time. It's not an overnight process. And again, it's essentially still a new construction yard. It's never been cared for as far as I know, like I've been caring for it thus far. I don't have irrigation, so that's a challenge. I mean, those are things I have to consider and work around and work with. So I'm building the soil profile. I'm not pounding it with nitrogen. I'm really taking my time to get this thing looking good. What other questions do you have for me on what we touched on here today? Drop those in the comment section below. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video, share it out, subscribe to the channel so you can keep up with all the action I've got going on here in my yard and learning all about the N-Ext products. Keep on keeping on, my lawn care brothers and sisters from other misters, and I will catch you next time. Remember, it's just water. Tastes like freedom.